children who experience and are subjected to drug-related violence strongly develops emotional and behavioral problems and are often known to seek the use of drugs as a coping mechanism. As such, this domino effect of drug abuse now becomes an economic burden to the state, since both the health and the criminal justice sectors are directly affected. Apprehending and treating offenders of and victims of drug-related violence is costly. That also diverts resources from other health and crime-related issues. And of course, social consequences of drug-related violence should also be considered, since it can extend beyond the individuals involved, individuals who are perpetrators and individuals who are victims. A high prevalence of drug-related violence within a community can also affect the quality of life, thus reducing community cohesion, increasing fear of crime, preventing persons from visiting areas which have these disorders, especially areas at nighttime. And all of that can do serious damage. One of the most robust findings in drugs, especially alcohol and crime research, is that drug-related incidents frequently occur late at night and in the early hours of the mornings and weekends. And of course, it is based on these kinds of studies that caused me to do that curfew at 2 o'clock, of course, of which I'm getting a good piece of battering for. But I also, in the research department, asked that some research be done, and they came up with a very important study out of Norway, drug in Norway, use, consequences, and cost. And the grave impacts associated with drug abuse in that study, I think it's 2011, major study, resulted in increased mortality rates due to motor accidents and increased health problems, increases of several diseases such as liver and lung, cancer, and heart diseases. As a consequence, the government there was faced with the task of additional healthcare facilities, resulting in the need for and utilization of more resources. Other negative consequences included mental health problems and behavioral disorders. Another one was a range of health services had to be introduced. Crime increased. And we're talking about Norway here, you know. Loss of productivity because of worker absenteeism, loss of life years, low quality of work, negative consequences on family through unstable and problematic childhood, an increased risk of divorce because of liquor and drugs. Though we in Guyana have not carried out such an extensive specific study on the cost and impacts, these negative consequences in Norway must ring a bell and warn us that here in Guyana, we too suffer from these adverse consequences, and probably many times worse. I say so because in this household survey, surprisingly, respondents seldom reported any ill effects of their drug use. On the contrary, many highlighted what they considered as desired effects of drug use, in particular marijuana use. Further, the respondents associated with a treatment center pointed out that treatment centers face three main challenges: financial resources to scale up interventions and treatment, lack of trained specialized human resources, and the capacity to monitor persons on treatment to assess progress towards rehabilitation, as mentioned by Purnell. Now, as we all know, Norway is not cash-strapped, as we are. And that is why, when ringing a bell and a warning sign, this is so disastrous in a sense for Guyana. I am happy that there are a set of recommendations made in view of these findings. These will have to be added to the efforts coming from the law enforcement standpoint, namely that which was stated in the Drug Strategy Master Plan 2016 to 2020, to be executed largely by the two existing agencies, Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit and the Guyana Police Force, soon to come under the umbrella of NANA. And of course, I here want to also restate some of the recommendations propose to curb what is happening here. There is need for this regular sensitization of the harmful effects of licit and illicit drugs, as mentioned by Clement. We need more public spaces, recreational centers for individuals at the various stages in the cycle, because this, of course, is going to remove them from the idleness that are born in their heads in the time of desiring all these drugs and alcohol. Of course, the expansion in job training and economic insertion activities, that's very important. We have to create, of course, the mentorship programs for youths coming from the communities, and I'm glad that we are having the CSSP program on stream in relation to at-risk youth, which is going to help. But we have to also ask parents to do a better job. Parental involvement is critical. And of course, we ask the media. The media campaigns targeted at youth should also address the role of parents in drug use prevention. All of these and much more we have to do. But we must never be daunted by the task at hand. To enjoy this country in a couple of years mean we must put in the efforts now. I am glad that with studies and surveys like these, our efforts will be more clinical, more evidence-based. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President and Minister of Public Security, for your...
Dormius, representative of the OAS, I got the name right. Representatives of the Inter-American Drug Abuse Control Commission, and other external agencies and representatives, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Task Force of the Narcotic Drug Person, Major General Michael Atherley, our most valued invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen all, good morning. I wish to express sincere thanks to all the speakers for setting aside your special thanks is extended to CCAT team, who not only organized and conducted the household drug prevalence survey in Guyana,